Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking time to be here with us today. My name is Justin Graves, and I am a member of the Virginia Tech class of 2012 and 2014. I want to do my part in welcoming you to the Virginia Tech Virtual Student Send-Off. Thank you again for taking the time to be here. We're really excited to have you. This event is usually something that we do in person at a restaurant, and we'll get all of you in the same room with your families to see you off to Blacksburg. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we can't do that this year, but that has never stopped any Hokies. So here we are virtually connecting through Zoom. This event will enable you to hear from alumni, faculty, staff, and a lot of current students through a student panel to kind of just give you a heads up on what to expect in Blacksburg in the coming year. We really hope that you enjoy the programming that we've got set up for you today. So with that, and without any further ado, I'm really excited to introduce you to our first speaker this afternoon. Her name is Desiree Creighton Barney. Desiree is a good friend of mine, and we serve together on the Virginia Tech Alumni Association International Board of Directors. Desiree is also a member of the Liberal Arts and Human Sciences College Alumni Advisory Board. And probably one of her bigger claims to fame, other than just being an awesome all-around Hokie, is that she has won the Ut Prosum Award, which is also really cool. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Desiree. Desiree, take it away.
Thank you, Justin. Justin is a dear friend of mine. Good afternoon to the incoming class of 2024. My name is Desiree Creighton Barney, as stated before. I'm a 1987 graduate of Virginia Tech with a degree in communications from the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I would like to extend to you a hearty welcome to Virginia Tech. We are so proud that you are the newest members of the Hokie Nation. Freshman year is an exciting time in your life. Although it will be a bit different this year, I hope that you will enjoy your time as you learn to navigate your way around the campus and not to mention cross the drill field. I encourage you to get involved and engage with the university. We have more than 900 clubs and organizations, and I trust that at least one of them will pique your interest. My time at Virginia Tech more than adequately prepared me for the real world. It helped me to become the well-rounded person that I am today. And my experiences helped shape me into the adult that I am today. They continue to help me navigate this sometimes challenging world in which we lived. I made lifelong friends while at Tech, and I still enjoy meeting new Hokies because of my continued involvement at Virginia Tech. We have many terrific resources for students, parents, and alumni. Alumni resources and chapters are here for you throughout your student career, but especially for the rest of your life. I encourage you to visit our website at www.alumni.vt.edu to find your local chapter. Although we weren't able to welcome you in person as we planned, on behalf of our alumni, but especially our dedicated chapter volunteers, I'd like to welcome you to the Hokie Nation. Go Hokies.
Back on. Thank you so much, Desiree. So for some additional information, you all can visit alumni.vt.edu. That's our Alumni Association website for some more information about local chapters and what kind of events we do. Personally, I really love our football watch parties. I was not a big college football fan before I came to Virginia Tech, but there is just something in the water down in Blacksburg that when Saturday comes around, it is all I care about. It's all I want to do. But even if you don't like college sports, that's okay too. We have all kinds of networking events and different, we have a student send-off picnic with our DC Hokies chapter. Again, unfortunately, we can't do that this year, but that's just a kind of a glimpse, a little highlights of what we do usually. And right now, I know our Alumni Association is hard at work, working to develop some virtual events to make sure that we are still able to engage and connect as alumni all across the country. So hopefully those will be a lot of fun. So up next, we are going to have some really fun reflections for you from another good friend of mine. And I promise you, I'm not just saying that. My friend who's in the backyard with me here, he asked me, he was like, is Desiree actually your good friend? And I was like, yes, I really do mean it. And this next speaker is also a good friend of mine as well. Erin Helbling, she's a member of the class of 2014. We had a little bit of overlap during our years in Blacksburg. I finished graduate school the same year that she finished undergrad. So here's a little bit of information about Erin. So she is currently, so like her day job, she does, at least 8 hours a day to pay her bills. She's the associate director of recruitment and outreach for the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine. So she recruits and works in admissions for folks who want to go into osteopathic medicine. But even cooler than that, in my humble opinion, Erin is also the alumni chair for the Greater DC Young Alumni region. So, when you graduate and you are within that 0 to 10 years after graduation and you're a young alum, Erin will be, or whoever's in Erin's position, maybe it'll still be Erin. They'll be a good touch point for you to help get you engaged with our local alumni chapters in the DC area, like Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC, that area. So we have young alumni committees that are all across the country because as an alumni association, we are really committed to engaging alumni throughout the course of their, alumni time. So Erin will have some reflections for you now. So take it away, Erin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. I really appreciate that. And I just want to reiterate everything that has already been said in that welcome to the Hokie family. We are so excited for you. I'm insanely jealous of the journey that you're about to embark on by heading up to Blacksburg. And like Desiree said, although it's going to look different, it'll still be a Hokie experience. And I'm incredibly thrilled for you. Justin outdid it with the introduction. Again, my name is Erin. I was the class of 2014. In marketing management. And I guess what I'll share with you right now is really at the end of the day, what I got out of my experience at Virginia Tech. My experience at Virginia Tech was non-traditional in that I did transfer to Virginia Tech from Penn State after my freshman year. So I had a different perspective coming in that my experience, I was able to compare it to another institution. And this is nothing against Penn State whatsoever. It's an amazing institution, but I can confidently say that Virginia Tech does things differently. And in my personal opinion, which maybe is now biased, we do it way better. As far as what I got out, the list goes on and on and on and on. I gained leadership skills that I have needed and used day in and day out in every professional role that I've ever had. I needed all those skills to get to where I am today, where I serve as the Associate Director of Recruitment and Outreach for an association that serves medical schools. And ultimately, I want to share with you that I was given the time and space at Virginia Tech that I never knew I was going to need, but I was given the grace from advisors, my friends, professors to figure out who I was and ultimately who I wanted to become. I'll have you know that I started my freshman year as a biology major. I wanted to be a pharmacist and I failed chemistry. So it's totally okay. You will make mistakes, but Virginia Tech gives you that space to just be who you are and figure out who you need to be. And like others, I found my best friends at Virginia Tech, and I am so jealous. I wish I could go back up there and do it all over again. But ultimately, Virginia Tech led me to where I am today. I decorated my graduation cap when I finished at Virginia Tech with I couldn't be a Tiger if I hadn't been a Hokie. I went on to Clemson University for my Master's of Education in Student Affairs. And that statement really and truly remains true. I couldn't be anything I were today if I hadn't been a Hokie. I work with 36 medical schools nationwide, and one of them, VCOM, actually is in Blacksburg, Virginia. So there's some really cool crossover there in what I get to do now. If you ever get to go to a Virginia Tech football game, which you will, don't worry, in Lane Stadium, you will see VCOM everywhere. And that's mostly because our research partnership with Virginia Tech Athletics and the Center for Injury and Biomechanics became the first place to place a unique accelerometer array into a collegiate football player's helmet to study head impact biomechanics and clinical syndrome of mild traumatic brain injury in collegiate football. So that's kind of a nerdy way of saying that my work is really awesome and it gets to overlap with one of my favorite things, which is Virginia Tech football. If I had any advice that I could impart to an incoming freshman at this point in time, this is cliche, and in many ways I don't love this saying, but I think it's really true that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And luckily, Virginia Tech has 1,000,001 different opportunities for you to meet different people from 1,000,000 different backgrounds and have amazingly different perspectives than you. So please take advantage of that. Put yourself out there, get involved in anything on campus. Because what you're looking at right now is, on this call alone, like Justin said, is a group of people who I was able to meet at Virginia Tech and have remained great friends and colleagues. Some of my best mentors, Jessica John Zelmore and Rick Sparks, I still talk to them every day, but through them I knew Byron Hughes, and I know Justin Graves through all of the leadership opportunities that I had on campus. So my point is, it's all about the humans. Get out there, enjoy the heck out of it. I'm insanely jealous, and go Hokies.
So if you take away one thing from what Aaron just said, I think what I would agree with the absolute most is it's all about the human. I absolutely agree with that. Thank you so much, Aaron, for those remarks. You absolutely hit the nail on the head. That was spot on. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, so the next kind of act of our show today, I want to introduce you to another absolutely fantastic Hokie, and that is Byron Hughes. Aaron actually just referenced how she knows Byron through her time as an undergraduate student as well. Byron is actually a class of 2017 graduate, having received his doctorate through Virginia Tech. And Byron and I also have some overlap in our days as well. We actually came to Virginia Tech at the same time. I don't know if Byron actually knows this, but I was doing a little bit of research on him, and turns out that he joined the university in 2008, which was also the fall semester of my freshman year. And then he did a tour as fraternity and sorority life director, and now in student affairs, he is the dean of students. So he is definitely going to be responsible. I mean, you'll probably see his name on emails and letters, but he is plays a huge part in supporting Virginia Tech students in their on-campus experience. So with that, let me go ahead and throw it over to Byron. Byron, please take it away.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Thanks for that. Hey, class of 2024, congrats. As Justin said, I am Byron Hughes. I get to serve as your Dean of Students and work with a talented group of colleagues, 30 different departments, and 3,000 faculty, staff, and students that are employees and part of student affairs. So you've made it, and we are thrilled to welcome you. So obviously, while I would rather be with you in person, since the DC area is my home, I'm equally excited to be here with you virtually today. So in student affairs, we're committed to providing transformative experiential learning opportunities to access and success and a service and leadership in the spirit of good person that I may serve. Our work encompasses nearly all aspects of students outside the classroom experience, from housing and dining, to student activities, to healthcare and wellness, to leadership and service, and so much more. Through numerous programs and guided transformative learning experiences outside the classroom, as well as the environments our students live, eat, and socialize in, we work to build community among our students. We want to ensure that our underrepresented, transfer, international, and first-generation college students have equally gratifying and rewarding experiences as those of all students. So in student affairs, to sum it up, we're helping prepare you for a life after college by exposing you to dynamic and diverse environments, as well as developing the skills and competencies necessary to successfully navigate a variety of cultures, ideas, and perspectives. Now, here's a few resources for students and families to access as you're kind of getting ready and geared up to come down here in the next week. So we recommend that families and students follow the main VT accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Families, you can also sign up for the VT Daily email for news and information about Virginia Tech. Sign up at vtnews.vt.edu. All updates, we know this is important, regarding COVID-19 and the university's plan to return to campus and our operations throughout the fall will continuously be posted to the VT Ready site at vt.edu/ready. Now, most student affairs departments also have their own social media accounts, and you can find a lot of great student-run, such as our class of 2024 page, and family-run Facebook groups that help build community and also to find recommendations about your experience this coming year. Please remember to confirm VT-related information you find on student or family-run pages on our official Virginia Tech channels. Something that is brand new this summer and this year for our families is our Hokie Family Hub. So this is brand new. We welcome families to go ahead and sign up and create a profile so that you can go ahead and receive information and updates from what's happening throughout campus. Many of you may have already received an invite from our family programs team. This platform, though, is hosted by Campus ESP, and you can sign up and set up that profile by visiting vtfamilies.campusesp.com. So if you got an email from either Campus ESP or from family programs about the Hokie Family Hub, it is legitimate. Go ahead and sign up. So a couple of events that we definitely want to turn your attention to throughout the fall semester. So this year, first up is Welcome Week. Welcome Week generally is kind of a 1 to 2 week program that's all in person. Obviously this year we're having to change it around a little bit. So it will be a mix of virtual and in-person events to help introduce new students to campus and to welcome back our returning students. Students you can find in Welcome Week's schedule on the Hokies on Track app. It will be updated continuously. Another way to be able to know what's going on campus is Gobbler Connect. It's a student's one-stop shop for all things related to campus engagement and student organization involvement. Head to gobblerconnect.vt.edu to learn more. And the last event that I'll tell you about certainly is our Fall Family Weekend, which will be a virtual event held from September 18th through September 20th. More information is coming soon. So we do ask, though, that our family members stay home this year and participate virtually. So stay connected to Virginia Tech and Student Affairs social media sites for more updates about the weekend. Now, one of the things that we always like to be able to share with our incoming class is really what's unique about them so that maybe they can have some bragging rights. So Virginia Tech is poised to welcome its most diverse freshman class in university history for the fall 2020 semester, including historic highs for Black African-American students and Hispanic and Latinx students. This year, students representing 46 states and 46 countries accepted offers. Here's something else, 17% of our incoming freshmen are first generation students, meaning they are the first in their families to attend college. That's pretty awesome. Virginia Tech's growing national and international reputation and its experiential learning and campus life programs led to over 31,000 admissions applications received this past cycle. That's a great increase. And the average first year GPA of our students was 3.96, and they had an average SAT score of 1272. So those are some great and wonderful things and attributes about our incoming class and the folks that you all get to call your community home. Again, we are very excited to be able to see you all here in just about a week. Go Hokies.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Byron, for all of that information. I remember thinking back to my time becoming a Virginia Tech student, freshman year. Like I mentioned, it was fall of 2008. And while it doesn't quite feel like it was just yesterday, the weather was honestly pretty much the same as it is today right now, sitting outside here. And I just remember the energy and the excitement of moving. And I'm really excited for all of you to experience that too. And real quick, I'm going to share some advice tidbits at the end, but something that I would even recommend now, especially in light of Byron's comments, is when you're moving in, keep your eyes open, keep your door open, keep your heart open to making new friends on campus. Your community and your network, just like Aaron mentioned, is some of the most important pieces of the Virginia Tech experience. And one of the other very important pieces of the Virginia Tech experience is sports. Like I mentioned earlier, Virginia Tech football is a huge deal and it's a lot of fun. And football, of course, is not the only sport that we have on campus. We've got basketball, lacrosse, all kinds of different sports to get involved with, to go watch, to support. And to give you some information on all of that, next up, I'd like to welcome to the stage Paul Torgerson, who we actually are a member of the same class, the class of 2012. So with that, Paul, please take it away and tell us all about Hokie Club and Student Hokie Club.
I appreciate it, Justin. Thank you. Yes, I actually remember meeting you during, I think, freshman year of one of our classes. So small world. But I want to congratulate each and every one of you on this special opportunity to attend Virginia Tech and officially becoming part of Hokie Nation. It truly is special. It will honestly be the best 4 years, or in my case, 5 years of your life. So really cherish it, enjoy it, take advantage of it. You have heard some awesome things from some of our friends and colleagues about what Virginia Tech is and Blacksburg and all the special things it has to offer. But like you, or like a lot of people, I came from out of state. So I came to Virginia Tech not knowing many kids. So I took this opportunity to branch out, get out of your comfort zone, explore, get involved, and figure out what your passions were. And that's exactly what I did. And I explored Greek life my freshman year. And that's honestly how I met Byron as well. So we go way back as well. But I also did an internship with sports marketing with the athletic program. And that was kind of my calling. I figured out that was what I wanted to do moving forward in my career. And it's kind of amazing how everything circled back around. And 10 years later, I'm back working in athletics. So right now I work with the Hokie Club. Just a little background. We're responsible for covering the student athlete scholarship bill, which is roughly $17 million per year for the 550 student athletes. And this covers tuition, room and board, nutrition, medical expenses, cost of attendance, et cetera. So it's a big challenge each and every year. But we also have other initiatives where we fundraise for capital projects and each of our individual sports programs so they can get the needed necessities to compete with the ACC peers and some of the best across the league. So how can you help? Well, we're attempting to get to 25,000 Hokie Club members. Right now we're a little over 18,000. So we're well on our way. And when we started this initiative for Drive for 25, we were at about 9,000 in 2016. So we've made great strides, but we want to incorporate all of Hokie Nation and get everybody involved. It's one huge family, one huge network that we have. And we find ways to get each involved, whether you're right out of college, in college, or you've been with us for 50 years. So we also have a student Hokie Club program. Right now we have a little over 2,000 student Hokie Club members, and this is an opportunity if you're passionate about sports to get involved. We do so many promotional items and events at specific sporting events, not just football games, not just basketball games, but across the board. We have a presence at all our Olympic sports, whether it's lacrosse, softball, tennis, baseballs, to just get involved, get out there. And it's an opportunity to meet more people in athletics. So if you are like me and if you know you have that passion for athletics, it's a good way to get involved. And we do a lot of internships with marketing and compliance and the medical staff, nutrition, us with the Hokie Club. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. You just need to approach them. So take this opportunity. If you're interested in joining the Student Hokie Club, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our email is studenthokieclub.vt@vt.edu. I will be on the other line, so I will respond as quick as I can, answer anything I can for you. It costs $25 to join. So if you have interest, please consider it. If your parents are interested in joining the Hokie Club, please have them reach out to Hokie Club if they have any questions. Otherwise, really cherish and enjoy these next 4 years. Like I said, it was the best 4 years, and I loved Blacksburg so much, I ended up coming back after I graduated. So kind of just shows you what kind of family the Hokie Nation creates when you're in school and after you graduate. So take this opportunity, enjoy it, and thank you for everything. Go Hokies.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for those remarks, Paul. And I really am resonating with a lot of what everyone's sharing today. You know, we obviously practice this for you all, and I've said it in a couple of these events, but honestly, just hearing everyone's remarks, just so genuine, and really like what Paul just said of, you know, it creates a family. The whole entire Hokie experience does create a family. And where I'm sitting right now is actually in the backyard of one of my best friends, who we're adults now, or grown-ups, whatever. But in freshman year in Pedro Yates Hall, we lived across the hall from each other. And right now we're hanging out with her 6-month-old son, swimming around in the pool. We went to football games together and created a lot of those same memories that Paul was just talking about. So I think it's really, really valuable. And it's a tried and true example right here. In this moment that I'm sitting in, of someone that you can connect with over and just create different memories. And we still go back for football games and things like that as well. So make sure that you check out that Hokie Club, that Student Hokie Club, and get as engaged as you possibly can, because it's a great way to create a ton of memories. All right, so now we are going to shift a little bit. And this is actually the part of the program that I am most excited for you all as students who are going to Blacksburg very, very soon. And you'll be able to hear from a couple of students through a student panel. So today we've actually got three students here who are going to be able to kind of entertain some of the questions that you all asked in the pre-registration when you registered for today's event. These students are each representatives of the Student Alumni Associates, and on campus we call them SAA for short. And SAA is a group, a student organization on campus that supports the programs of the Virginia Tech Division of Advancement and Alumni Relations. So these are students who are just really passionate about engaging with the alumni experience, even though they are not alumni quite yet. So when I was on campus, I was never a member of SAA, but I had a ton of friends that were, and they were always the students who frankly had the access to the coolest opportunities on campus. When alumni would come into town, they would be able to go engage with those alumni and help out with different events around campus over at the inn. And I honestly was kind of envious. So today I'm really envious that these students get to reflect on their current student experience and answer some of the questions that you all had for them. And one of the most important things about SAA is that they basically kind of bridge that gap, the gap between students and alumni through programming. So when someone like me comes back for an event, let's say, it's a club or a board meeting for the Alumni Association, and we are looking for students to kind of just talk to and see what their student experience is like now, so that we don't get too old and too out of touch. SAA are the students that they often invite to come hang out with us and to spend some time with us. So I always really, really appreciate these SAA students. And so today, the three that we have for you are Mia, Daisy, and Kashi. So each of them are going to share their year, their major, and one piece of advice. Just overall, we asked them to share what piece of advice they might give you as they or as you are coming into the Virginia Tech experience. So right now, let's go ahead and swing it over to Mia first. And Mia, if you could share your name, your year, your major, and one piece of advice that you would have for everyone.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Mia. I'm a junior. My major is National Security and Foreign Affairs with a minor in Chinese. My one advice is to go out and say hi to people. Obviously, social distancing now, but you never know who or where you're going to find your friend group, and we're all going through it together. So definitely go out and say hi to people.
Awesome. I 100% agree with that. Like we've said a couple of times, I think people are one of the biggest part of the college experience. So thank you for that, Mia. All right, next up, I'm going to throw it over to Daisy Ng. Daisy, take it away.
Thank you, Justin. Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy Ng, and my major is Business Information Technology, and I'm also minoring in Chinese, so see me in class. And my year is, I'm also a rising junior, and my advice is to not be afraid to ask for moral support and to give it. So when you go explore a new organization, it's usually a little intimidating because the people there know each other, they're happy to see each other. But going out to explore with a friend is so much easier to overcome those fears. And don't be afraid to go along with someone who asks you to explore an organization you wouldn't have thought to explore yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daisy. I love that advice as well. And last but certainly not least, let's toss it over to Kashi Nakor. Kashi, take it away.
Is Kashi Nakor, like Justin said. I am a junior in the Pamplin College of Business studying marketing management with a dual concentration in digital marketing strategy and professional sales, which is just a really fancy way of saying that I love marketing, and I'm even the director of marketing for SAA. My advice is to remain as open-minded as possible. To be completely honest, everything I planned to do in college, I like my hall, specific activities, organizations, I ended up not even enjoying. And because of that, I was completely miserable my first year. Not to say that will happen to you all, but when I finally came back for my sophomore year, just being open to new experiences and different people, I found amazing communities and overall happiness in the least expected places. I'm actually in my room right now on campus with all the other RAs getting ready to support you all. So I'm really excited to see you in the fall.
Thank you so much, Kashi. I was actually going to ask. I noticed. I was like, that looks like a lot like a Virginia Tech residence hall room. So thank you for your dedication and getting back early to serve students through UDPROSM. That's really awesome. All right. So like I said, today we're going to do basically a little bit of a Q&A. We've got some questions that everyone put into the form when you registered for today's webinar. So the first question that I'm going to ask is, what was it like moving from your hometown to Blacksburg? And this one, let's ask Mia first. And this is the order we'll do it in. Let's do Mia, then Daisy, then Kashi, then Emily. But Mia first, what was it like moving from home to Blacksburg? What was that experience like for you?
It was definitely nerve-wracking because where I grew up, we go to this school with the same people for like 12 years. And now you're going into like 4,000 students plus. So it's very overwhelming. I had two friends that would come with me everywhere. And they, like Daisy said, they supported me. We went out events together. So it was definitely scary. But I also made friends with my roommate who I didn't know, and she opened me up to a whole nother group of students.
Yeah, for me, I actually did marching band my freshman year. So I had to move in like a week before everyone else. And that I think was like the pipeline for me to get settled in because it's a group of like 300 other Hokies. Many of them are upperclassmen. So I got to make a lot of friends through that organization before everyone else came back to campus. And I think that's just like finding an organization that you can relate to the people there. That'll be like the way that you feel comfortable and how Virginia Tech will become a home to you.
Yeah, and for me, I joined an LLC my freshman year, a living learning community, living learning program. So I got to come back a couple days. I got to come here a couple days early and just kind of figure everything out. And it was nice to kind of have a built-in community for me. But I know that other people that weren't in LLPs found that with their hall as well. And so I think it was a really exciting time for me just to get to know new people. And as nerve-wracking as it was, I just reminded myself that everyone else was in the same position. And lucky for me, not to plug your RAs, but I had great RAs to support me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, you all, for those questions, or excuse me, for those answers. So next question that we have here is going to be about some equipment that may or may not be available on campus, because of course you don't necessarily have access to everything that you might need. But let's see, the question is, are there rental vacuums, or is there any other rental equipment available? And if not, how did you work out gaining access to these particular items?
That's a really good question. So I actually brought a vacuum, a handheld vacuum.
Wait, Mia, wait, is that is that the Hokie bird?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, Hokie bird. What the heck? Wow, thank you for joining us. Well, I don't think I've ever been on a Zoom call with the Hokie bird, so this is definitely a first. Wow, pretty cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're having a great weekend. I don't think he can talk, so let's see. Well, first of all, let's pause for a second, and everyone, if you want, let's take a selfie with the Hokie bird. I know I'm about to. Please hold. This is awesome. All right, let's see. And there we go. Awesome. Cool. All right. So let's see. I actually have a couple of fun facts for you all about the Hokie bird. So while I'm checking out these fun facts, feel free to take a selfie with him as well. So first of all, the first name of our university mascot was not Hokie bird. It was the Gobbler. And back when the mascot was originally introduced, it was a turkey that was trained to pull a cart at football games all the way back in 1913, so more than 100 years ago. And it would gobble on command and do all kinds of tricks. So I didn't know that was possible, but good to know. The first Hokie bird costume was actually created in 1962. But about 20 years later, in 1981, the name Gobbler fell out of favor. Like, people were not into it anymore. So the Hokie bird, as we see him today in all of his majesty, was actually first created in 1987. So really not all that long ago. But yeah, so that's the Hokie bird that we know now. Was like around the late 80s when that was introduced. And students who dress up as the Hokie bird actually remain anonymous until after graduation. So it's never like an alum or anyone in the Hokie bird costume. It's always a student. And I had two friends who were Hokie birds when I was an undergrad, and I actually never knew who they were until commencement, when they wore the Hokie bird feet at commencement underneath their caps and gowns, like instead of normal shoes. And so that was always a cool little reveal. So yeah, if you ever want to try out to be the Hokie bird, the opportunity is definitely yours. And maybe you'll get to wear those Hokie bird feet at graduation as well. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, HB. Thanks for popping by. I don't know what you're up to for the rest of the day, but I hope you have fun. And hopefully I'll see you in the fall, give you a nice air hug, maybe a little elbow bump, something like that. Let me get an elbow bump. There we go. Thanks, bud. Good to see you. All right. All right. Thanks again, Hokey Bird. So back before Hokey Bird so rudely interrupted us, just kidding. We will have Hokey Bird interrupt us any day. But yeah, so back to that question. I think Mia, you were in the middle of answering some information on, or actually, let's not go to one of the students. Let's go to Byron first. So Byron, the question about like vacuums and rental equipment and things like that. Are those kinds of things available? And if not, then how do we work out accessing that kind of equipment as an incoming student?
Sure, yeah, Justin. We don't manage a rental service for that type of equipment. So the one thing that we might suggest is, I think what I did when I was a freshman in college, which was certainly a long time ago, is go up and down the floor and talk with friends to see who has one that they would allow you to use. You could always, I remember one time we had some students that pulled their money together and went to Walmart and they paid in and bought a vacuum cleaner and other things that they needed and just kind of kept it in people's rooms and circulated throughout the floor. So those are a few options that I have. I'm sure our students may have a few other options that they may have pursued as they were maybe in the similar situation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brian. Maybe Mia, would you like to kind of offer some information on how you guys navigated that same thing with vacuums, maybe refrigerators or microwaves, anything like that?
Yeah, so I actually had like a handheld vacuum. However, I knew some people who did have an actual vacuum, and sorry, and we just shared it. Like whenever we needed it, we just asked for it. So I think that's definitely a good option to just make friends with hallmates and like share different supplies or like microwaves, or I wouldn't share a fridge because but yeah, definitely a vacuum or any cleaning supplies.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Daisy?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, people actually come over prepared than under prepared, especially parents, letting their babies fly out of the nest for the first time. So it shouldn't be hard to find anything you need. And if you do really need something that you can't find, definitely go to an RA, which I'm sure Kashi can talk about.
Awesome. Kashi, take it away. What kind of advice might you have from an RA perspective?
Yeah. So, like everyone kind of said before, sharing is caring, and that's the way that it typically works. I would say people do tend to overpack a lot. And so I would recommend actually packing light. We have the Target, we have a Walmart, everything. We're still civilization down here. I know it's different from DC, but we're going to be just fine. So anything you need, you can get here. You're probably in a building where you can access things like that. And I would also say that once you find out who your RA is, you'll find out who your supervisor is. You can also Google your hall to see what's available. So I'd say kind of do your research on the front end, pack light, and then anything else you need, you can get shipped here, you can buy here, but just make sure you have the essentials, any sort of medications that you can't get at home, maybe your like special pillow, any sentimental things, family photos, things like that. Anything you can't immediately get here, I would make sure to bring from home, but anything else, you'll find it here.
Awesome. And Kashi, actually, real quick, when I was sitting on one of these, like the same event for out-of-state students, one of the students mentioned that Amazon will deliver directly to your door and like in the residence halls. Is that the case?
So usually that is the case. I start
Great.
RA training this week, so I can tell you whether that's going to be the same given COVID circumstances.
Sure.
But Amazon does deliver. It is very convenient. USPS, just for reference, depending on what you do, it will either go to a mail room in Owens where you can pick up any sort of paper mail, certain packages, but anything from UPS, which is typically Amazon items, can come to your door or at least to your building. Yeah, the first couple weeks of the semester, like I will probably know the UPS guy by name.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know that feeling. I live and die by getting things in the mail. All right, up next, let's see which question we had next. Oh, this is actually a really good one for the students. This has to do with academics. Obviously, you're going to college, you're going to school to get a good education. and it doesn't always go according to plan. You might end up having a bad grade on a paper or a test or something like that. So what would your advice be for pulling yourself up from a bad semester, or a bad exam or something like that? Let's toss this one over to Mia first.
Hi, okay, yeah, so I actually, that's a really good question. I think first is get some ice cream, like there's good ice cream at Deets, sulk a little, but then just remember like one exam is not the end of the world. And you can always talk to your TA or professor to see what they have advice for and like talk to them about what went wrong. It's definitely not the end of the world. You can also talk to your advisor. Virginia Tech has so many good resources for students. Also, you can reach out to some classmates and form a study group. But at the end of the day, like grades don't always define you. So you just have to remember that.
That's absolutely fantastic advice. You're absolutely right. How about you, Daisy? What would your advice be?
Yeah, I completely agree that what matters is how you're developing and your mental and emotional health. So definitely don't beat yourself up over one grade, but also get the help that you need. So some resources that I found really helpful were my advisor in the Pamplin College of Business. I feel like advisors are kind of slept on because people are quick to reach out to their professor in that specific class, but I think advisors can help you navigate like your strengths and weaknesses and maybe what classes and electives you should look into as you're progressing through college. But definitely big picture is don't let it like destroy your mental health. So keep yourself healthy.
Absolutely, that mental health is so important. You hit the nail on the head there, yeah. And lastly, how about you, Kashi? What would your advice be in terms of academics and maybe picking yourself up from a bad grade?
From Albert Einstein that I kind of live by during these times, which is everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And so if you really think about that, it's just like there are different metrics for different people's success, and academic success is not everything. But I would say something that's really important about college is not just academics, but the fact that everything is kind of interconnected. So taking care of yourself physically, taking eating healthy. We have nutritionists available, taking advantage of the gyms or just exercise available. Cook Counseling also has great services for anyone who's just kind of struggling, or even if you're not struggling and you want to stay on a healthy path. So I would say the one thing that I focus on is, yes, academics are important, but also everything that feeds into that, which for me is my physical and mental health.
I hear you. One quote I keep hearing lately is that you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think that kind of also goes to that point, is making sure that you're taken care of in all ways, not just physically, not just mentally, but all of them. It takes the whole person to be successful. Absolutely. So to that end, I think one other piece that's really important in terms of being successful and having a really good college experience is getting involved and being involved in different student organizations and club sports and things like that. So I'm going to ask all of you all this question, but let's toss this one over to our Dean of Students, Dr. Hughes first. Byron, what would you say is a good way to get involved in learning about different student groups on campus?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Justin. I think one key way, I think, and our students have mentioned this, and so have other panelists, is you got to meet people. You got to get connected to others. Oftentimes the things that you're interested in doing, you probably want to do with people. So, know the people that you live with, know the people that are in your classes, and then check out those things together. So Gobbler Connect is a portal that we have for student involvement with over 900 student organizations included in it, as well as tons of academic offerings as well. Gobbler Fest, which happens typically on our drill field, is happening virtually this year. And so there'll be plenty of ways for you to be able to engage with that experience and actually figure out what's here for you. But study what's available, find out from others what they are doing, and try to figure out what is best for you. It's not necessarily important to get over involved. It's just important to get involved in the things that can matter most to you.
Absolutely. Great word of caution there in terms of not getting too over involved and spreading yourself too thin. All right, let's ask that same question to the students as well. Let's go over to Mia first. Mia, what would be some tips that you would maybe give for students to identify opportunities, or maybe tips on finding good things to get involved with?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little different because Gobbler Fest is online. However, I think that's a great way to get a good look at all the orgs that Virginia Tech offers. One thing is, if you have a friend, definitely just go out. You don't have to join a club right away, but just going out and seeing what they stand for, who the people are. I joined a cultural org my freshman year, the Chinese American Society, and I think that was a great way to meet people. And I know other people joined adventure groups and other types of organizations. So definitely just go out, see what they have to offer. You don't have to sign up right away, and definitely drag your friends along. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Mia. How about you, Daisy?
I agree that interest meetings are a great way to test the waters. So just like related to the moral support thing, just if you see anything interesting, just ask someone in your hall to go and check it out. And things will be online. So I think it will be easier to find like a diverse array of organizations that you can check out since there isn't this travel time. So there's a lot you can explore, and make sure to check out Gobblerfest online.
Absolutely. Love Gobbler Fest. And let's throw it over to Kashi. How about you? Tips for getting involved in finding groups on campus?
Yeah, so quickly, Virtual Gobbler Fest is on Friday, September 4th from 4 to 6 p.m., just in case anyone was wondering, and there'll be more information coming out about that soon. But I think for me, something that really stuck was that it's never too late to join something. There is no rush to find everything at that first Gobbler Fest of your first year. There's going to be stuff going on throughout the year. Just quick plug for SAA because I have to. We actually do recruitment in the spring. So while we're going to be at Gobbler Fest, it's not too late. We want to give you time to settle in. And so I just say that, no matter where you are in your university journey, it is never too late to join anything. And also that there's different types of kind of activities and organizations. There's social, there's health related, there's spiritual, there's cultural, and of course, one of the most popular ones are anything having to do with boot prosum, just service overall. So I'd say find what just speaks to you and know that you have plenty of time.
Such a good point. I think that a lot of times, and sorry, nephew's getting a little cranky in the background if you can hear him crying a little bit, but I think that is something that folks do not necessarily think of when they are freshmen. Is they're like, oh my gosh, I'm here, I must do everything immediately. I see all of my friends doing everything immediately, and I was definitely guilty of that. I applied for a bajillion things fall semester freshman year and ended up a little overwhelmed. And looking back on it, I think it would have been nice if I had maybe just done a couple of things in the fall, a couple of things in the spring, maybe a couple of new things sophomore year, or maybe just one each of those semesters also. So that's a great fact, or a great idea, piece of advice, that you've got time. You don't have to rush through and apply to every single thing during Gobbler Fest in September. All right, next question is kind of on that same wavelength. What would be some tips that you would offer that have helped you be successful as a student? And specifically, this person said, how can we maximize our education? So let's go over to Mia with this question first.
I think that's a really good question. TAs offer a lot of study sessions, meeting with the professors. I think that's a huge thing. Making study groups, I think it's because we've all been like distanced from our friends, it'll be so important to also make friends within your class so you can get that moral support as well as share notes. Honestly, it's whatever you make of it. So Virginia Tech gives you all the resources. You just have to be willing to go out and try all the resources that they offer.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mia. Daisy, you're up next.
Yeah, I feel like college is the first time where people really get to start crafting their own life, really. So unlike high school, which has a really set plan, you can start exploring, what kind of career you want to have, what kind of friends you want to surround yourself with, and what kind of passions you want to invest your time in. So, yeah, I think just you don't know until you try, and this experience is yours to craft. So definitely follow through on your commitments. But if you try something and you find out you don't like it, like don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore after you follow through on your commitments, and really just craft the life that you want to live.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the best parts about college is transitioning and becoming your own person and being able to do your own thing. How about you, Kashi? What kind of advice would you give on this?
Yeah, so I would say take advantage of the resources available. So I highly, highly recommend meeting with your advisor once a semester. And some colleges also have peer advisors who can kind of offer personal information, like this is what professor worked for me based on my learning style. And I know that because I am one of them in Pamplin as well. Also, there's tutoring available at the Student Success Center for free, and that's something that you should all take advantage of. Um, I'm going to say it again, but counseling. Cook counseling is available for any sort of situation you're dealing with. And then also figure out how you learn. Are you someone who does best with multiple choice definition? Are you someone who learns best with like critical thinking and essays? Different professors teach to different learning styles. So if you can figure out how you learn your first semester, then you can find professors that will work best for your learning style. It will also help you figure out what major works for you. And then what else was I going to say? I don't remember, but that's it for now. Yeah.
Awesome, no worries. Happens to me all the time. If you think about it, let me know. But yeah, you're right. I'm not a good test taker myself, and luckily, the graduate program that I went into had one test out of the 2 years, had one actual like multiple choice test, and I didn't do well on that one either. So yeah, you spot on there. Okay, so we got some of the academic stuff out of the way. Obviously, very important. But so thank you all for that great advice. But let's switch gears to something that has more to do with life outside of the classroom, because yes, you're in the classroom a lot and that's very important, but you're also making sure that you are taking care of your whole person and having a good time while you are down in Blacksburg as well. So let's go ahead and go around all the students again with this question, but this one is, what are your favorite things to do in Blacksburg? And let's go in reverse order this time. Let's go with Kashi, then Daisy, and then Mia. So Kashi, what are your favorite things to do in Blacksburg?
I would say my favorite place here is the duck pond. And if you haven't been here yet, you will absolutely love it. I go on walks and runs by the duck pond pretty much every single day. Is my favorite place, so much in fact that my best friend, who's a Hokie ambassador, a tour guide, likes to make fun of me for it on her tours. So I would say that. I also refer a lot to the Hokie bucket list, which I'm sure you guys, if you don't know yet, it will be in your welcome packet. But the Hokie bucket list is a list of 72 items that you can kind of do throughout your 4 years here at Virginia Tech, with number 72 being graduate. So I really refer to that list to find stuff to do, whether that's different hikes, different places to eat, different events on campus and off campus to take advantage of, Blacksburg Farmers Market, cultural shows, things like that. So I really refer to that list to kind of check things off and experience new things. But the duck pond will always be my favorite place and my go-to.
Love the duck pond. How about you, Daisy?
Yeah, I definitely agree that the Hokie bucket list is a great place to start. It has so many ideas for things to do. And also Main Street is so walkable. Like downtown from any dorm is like literally 5 to 10 minutes. So I feel like that's something that I didn't really explore freshman year, but I wish I did more, because there are so many places that you can hang out with your friends and try little foods, like different types of snacks. And I think that my favorite place is just wherever my friends are, because I think one of the defining experiences of freshman year is those late night conversations in your dorm. It's like everybody can relate to that. And it's where I think you get to be vulnerable with people that you've never met. And I think it's just a really good opportunity to explore and learn about yourself and other people.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daisy. And Mia, over to you. What are some of your favorite things to do in Blacksburg?
Some of my favorite things is like what they both said, is hang out with friends. Virginia Tech has so many good food opportunities, hiking places. I actually found a really good local place near where I live called Abby's, and I love taking my friends there and sharing new like hot spots that we found. I definitely want to say hiking is such a big thing, because it's like you get to be with nature and it's not that far of a drive. So it's really just where my friends are.
Awesome. Thank you each. Thank you each of you so much. Up next, the following question that we had was from another student, incoming student, who said, what are some of your favorite traditions and activities? So we all know Virginia Tech is ripe with traditions and things that just go way back in history. So what are some of your favorite things to do? Let's do Daisy first on this one. favorite Virginia Tech traditions?
I would say that Virginia Tech is notorious for the amazing sunset views. So I think it's like a little personal challenge of mine, finding the best viewing spots for watching the sunset. And I think the pylons, that's a classic. Everybody's seen the sunset from the pylons. And going up by the recreational sports fields, like watching the sunset from the altitude up there is amazing. And of course, the hikes around Blacksburg. So I know it's not one of the more mainstream traditions, but to me, I think sunsets are a core part of how I experience Blacksburg.
Love a good sunset. Agreed. How about you, Mia? What are some of your favorite traditions and activities around Blacksburg and around campus?
I think my favorite tradition, I feel like it's everyone, is honestly Enter Sandman. To feel the stadium shake with your friends, it's just an unforgettable experience. So I think that has to be hands down my favorite, and I can't wait until we're able to do so.
Awesome. I completely agree. And Kashi, over to you.
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite traditions is homecoming. It's a little bit different than homecoming in high school. We essentially have a homecoming court filled with different representatives from different student organizations who work on a platform of some sort of service project. And so instead of you're not voting on them to win like a king and a queen or a crown or whatever. You're voting on them for how they're going to change the world starting right here in Blacksburg. And I would say the traditions that come along with it, you have the core who has the game ball in their hands, and they will sometimes they'll run all throughout campus, sometimes into your classroom, so you can touch the football for good luck. I just love that it's just filled with how we can do good for the world, exude prosum, but also the things that come along with it are, spirit rallies and just really showing off the different creativity of different students. And so it's going to be virtual this year. So stay tuned for some really fun things that they're going to do.
Great. Thanks so much. All right. So we have one last question for the student. Well, we have two questions overall, but this is the last one for our student panel. And this question has to do with the Corps of Cadets. If you all don't already know, back when Virginia Tech was founded in 1872, we actually were all military. We were back then, I think it was Virginia Agricultural Mechanical College, and it was only members of the Corps of Cadets. There were no civilian students, as we call them now. But of course, things have changed now, and there are civilian students and a lot of cadets as well. So the question was, what is the relationship like between Corps and non-Corps or civilian students? Let's go to Mia for this one first. Have you had any interaction with any classmates or friends who are in the cadets?
Oh yeah, actually one of my best friends is part of the Corps Cadets. She's actually there now getting ready to train for the incoming freshmen. It's honestly not that big of a deal. Like you don't really realize it after a couple of weeks, but it's definitely fun. We have the cadets versus civilian snowball fight when it first snows, and that is so much fun. Unfortunately, the freshmen this previous year didn't experience that, so hopefully this year we can. But it's honestly so much fun. It's so cool to see them practicing on the drill field or they're running around campus. So it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely a cool experience to have.
Awesome. Thank you, Mia. How about you, Daisy? Do you have any close friends or classmates who have been in the Corps of Cadets?
Yeah, I've definitely met a ton of cadets through different organizations. I'm a part of class office, so there's a cadet member at large, and there are lots of opportunities to meet cadets in different organizations and your classes even. And I actually love that the Corps of Cadets kind of makes Virginia Tech's campus feel unique, because that's not something that you see on every campus. And I would just say they're just people too. So it's not like there's a huge divide. Go up and say hello. You guys are just both experiencing college for the first time. So that's my take.
Yeah, that's a great point. We are all students at the end of the day, right? And Kashi, how about you?
Yeah, so like everyone else has said, the Corps is just another part of the Virginia Tech community, but they are a part of the community. So they still participate in a lot of the things that we participate in, all the 72 things on the Hokie bucket list. Any way they can get involved. They're still very much a large part of football games, which is really exciting. But I would also say that from the classmates I've had that are in the Corps, they are extremely disciplined. And that is something that I think we can all take away from kind of just their work ethic. They are waking up so early and they are training and they are still, having fun and being social and getting their academics done. So I would say that, yes, you should come here and treat them like everyone else, but also understand that they are put under a little bit more challenges than we are as kind of your civilian students, and that just approach them, with respect like you would anyone else, but acknowledge them for the service that they're doing to our university and potentially the service they'll do afterwards.
Fantastic. All great advice. Thank you so much to our student panel, Daisy and Kashi and Mia. You all were absolutely fantastic. We do have one last question though. And this one I'm going to throw over specifically to Dr. Hughes, our Dean of Students, because this question was, will there be a family weekend in the fall, given COVID and everything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Justin. So we will have a family weekend this fall. It will be September 18th to the 20th. It's going to be virtual this year. So you will be able to engage throughout the weekend with various ways and in terms of videos or live stream events that we'll be able to provide to you. But we are really encouraging families to just stay put where you are and join us in that particular way. Again, more information will be coming soon. The Hokie Family Hub will certainly have a lot of detailed information about what's going to be happening for Family Weekend and what that schedule is. So more updates are coming.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that information. I'm sure our families and parents will be, and students will be super appreciative to be able to take part in that virtually. All right, so thank you everyone for being a part of that student panel, and thank you to Dr. Hughes as well for taking some time out. It looks like you're in the office on a Sunday, so double thanks for doing that. So as we wrap up here, we're about 3 o'clock on the dot, so I want to make sure to be respectful of everyone's time. But really quickly, I do want to leave you all with a couple of pieces of final advice. As you begin to trek down to Blacksburg and take on this journey that is becoming a Virginia Tech student, like, it's a big deal. It's a big life change. And honestly, I don't think it could be any more exciting for you. I remember driving down 81, 460. I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia at the time. So that drive I did many, many times. And looking back on it, I don't always wish I could do it again in the same way, but it was always associated with a lot of really, really good memories. And given that, I would say, when you're going back and forth, if you go home for, Thanksgiving, when you go home for Thanksgiving, of course, you all won't be going back to Blacksburg after that break, but make sure that you are keeping in mind the people that you're connecting with. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give is based on the fact that right now I'm sitting in the backyard of one of my best friends who is part of my quarantine pod. And, like I said, she has a 6-month-old nephew, and we lived across the hall from each other when we were freshmen in Pedro Yates. And that friendship from 2008 now all the way until 2020, if you would have told me back then that we would still be so close, I wouldn't necessarily have, taken you seriously. I didn't think that would necessarily be the case. So I think lifelong friends is probably one of the biggest things that you should make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye on, is you never know that person who's next to you in the dining hall or that person who lives across the hall from you. They might be someone who's a part of your life forever. And on the other hand, it might be someone that you just meet for a day in passing and you never see them again. But at the end of the day, we're all Hokies. And that's one of the best parts about becoming a part of this community. With that though, let's switch back to academics very, very quickly. I would definitely say, first of all, go to class. I know that's kind of like, boring and like annoying, but really I always used to say, and my parents would say to me too, because they helped me pay for a lot of my school. They always said, you're paying for it. And when you don't go, you're wasting our money. They're right. If I don't go receive that instruction, then it's pointless. So, you're there to get a great education. I would highly, highly recommend engaging with that as thoroughly as you can. So office hours, teaching assistants, making sure that you take advantage of your academic advisor. You all get one. It's completely free. Make sure you take advantage of that resource, because they'll be able to help you a lot when it comes to helping make sure that you're picking out the right classes, make sure that you're not taking a really, really hard class at the same time as another really, really hard class if you don't absolutely have to. Things like that are so useful. Collect the contact information of people that you meet also, whether it's a quick follow on Instagram, whether it's an email address, whatever it is. Keep in touch with people, because for me, I think of my day job, even, as an adult now, I work in recruitment, and I guarantee you, when I see someone who has a Virginia Tech, little line on their resume, class of whatever, I do a double take. I'm like, oh, they're a Hokie too. I'm a Hokie. Let me see what we might have in common. So make sure that you keep in touch with people, because over time, you never know how those folks might come back around and help you out later on in your career, in your life, wherever it is. Keep in touch with people. And then a little piece of advice to our parents: go ahead and get involved. Don't feel like you have to stay at an arm's length. Definitely, let your student fly and, flap their Hokie wings and do what they're doing independently, but you can also be involved and stay in the know. And some ways to do that are to join the parents page on Facebook. The Virginia Tech Parents Facebook page is an absolutely extraordinary way to build a community. So know that it's completely administered by other Hokie parents, and that's not maintained by the university or anyone associated with the university, but lifestyle related recommendations, local lodging, game day atmosphere, care packages. If you want to learn about other parents and other families' experiences transitioning to being a Virginia Tech Hokie family, that's a great way to get some of that information. So make sure that you check that out. And again, that's the Virginia Tech Parents page on Facebook. And then finally, Welcome Week. Welcome Week for the university begins on August 14th. That is not very far away. Today's the 9th, so it begins on August 14th. So highly recommend that you all go out, meet new people, get involved, and make sure that you can find or make sure that you check out more information about that at students.vt.edu. I'm looking over my notes here, making sure that I don't forget any of the advice I wanted to share with you all. And yeah, I think that's it. So with that, one last thank you. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to be a part of today's event. You'll be able to catch this. It'll be archived on YouTube afterwards as well. So thank you to our alumni, faculty, and staff, and a big thank you to the Virginia Tech Alumni Association staff, who has been working behind the scenes to help facilitate all of this. Me as MC, I kind of just got to get dropped in and everything was pretty easy for me. So thank you to Christian and that whole team for being a part of organizing this. So hey, class of 2024, I hope to be able to meet you in the fall and the spring and in future semesters. I can't wait to meet you. And just one last piece of advice: from now on, whenever someone says, let's go, you don't say, where are we going? You say Hokies. The call and response is, let's go Hokies. So with that, thank you all so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Welcome to Virginia Tech.
All right, that's a wrap.